How to cut the perfect bob. That is the topic of today's video, and this will be a step-by-step, fully in-depth tutorial. And I have to be honest with you, as a hairstylist for many, many years, let's just say over 20 years, I really have a passion, and my biggest passion is for haircutting and teaching other professionals and helping educate, and I've done that for major companies. So I have been focusing so much of my efforts on non-technical stuff, which they're still great to do, but in this video, and I'm gonna start incorporating a type of content, it's gonna be great for hairstylists, it's gonna be great for people in cosmetology school, great for clients and people who maybe are getting these types of haircuts just to understand what goes into it. But this is really an in-depth tutorial so that you can learn how to do this haircut, all right? So let's start with the tools. And again, I'm going to be talking pretty much throughout the entire video. So you may hear a few bad jokes, and if you know me and have watched my videos before, I like to throw in a few bad ones here and there, all right? A few bad jokes. So the first thing we're going to do is I just washed the mannequin's hair. Always have a towel on hand. The key is if you're in a salon and you're cutting someone's hair, just fold it up like this, a nice fold, and you can lay it somewhere right on the station. Excuse me, allergies. Just lay it on the station somewhere, but you always want to have a towel ready because of water dripping or anything like that. Next, I'm going to be using 25 spray, which is my pre-styler. It's one of my best-selling products. I always spray this in the hair because one, it helps get rid of tangles, and two, it helps keep the hair very, very moist. So while you're cutting, the hair isn't gonna dry out on you as much. So it's gonna take a much longer time. 25 spray is really, really great. And look, instantly combing through the hair. The next tool you're gonna need is a vent brush. I do sell these vent brushes on my website. The amazing thing about them is that it's an anti-static vent brush, and the grip, it has a rubber grip, so you literally feel, it's not like a plastic grip where it's just slippery. It's rubber, so you have a good solid grip on it and good tension and friction, so you really can control the brush. And then obviously you're going to need some cutting tools and things like scissors, which I'm proud to announce that my SalonGuy shears, the new model, the new updated version, which a lot of research went into and a lot of trial and error, they are now ready. It's not going to even focus on this, but they're now ready. These are 7-inch 440C stainless steel shears, and they're very, very sharp. They're a straight edge. That's what I use when I cut. They're on my website for $250, includes free shipping in the US, and you also get a in-depth haircutting breakdown, a haircutting tutorial video based on the theory and understanding haircutting, all right, which has value to it in itself. So you're gonna need these types of tools to do this haircut. So now let's get into it, and we're gonna comb through the hair, and the first thing you wanna do is determine the natural parting, or where you wanna cut this in order to achieve this haircut. So let's go, just for the sake of it, let's go right down the middle, or as close to the middle as possible. I can't really see. Yeah, it looks okay to me. We'll go as close to the middle as possible, create a center parting, and then we're gonna start to section out the hair. I always create my division point, which is the area right behind the ear that allows you to separate the front from the back. And then when you do that, I'm gonna do it on both sides, you can just twist the hair and you can clip it away. Division point on both sides. All this really is, it's not anything to make the haircut complicated, but it's just a way for you to be able to separate the front from the back. That's all it really is. It's just a good guide, right? It's a guide. And unfortunately, I have no more clips. So just get that out of the way. And here is what both sides look like. All right, we've got the division point. Now, finally, we can start cutting. And the way we do this, now I learned how to do this when I trained at Vidal Sassoon in London many, many years ago. And it was the best thing I've ever learned. And they are ones that don't like to use any sort of clips. They really just have a very, very unique way of cutting, which was created by Vidal Sassoon himself. And I learned a lot from this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a section right throughout here. And if you want to clip it out of the way, totally feel free to do so. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to take this, and you can even bring these two together, but just get it out of the way. So you have a perfectly neat, clean section. I like to go on a slight diagonal just because it helps me with the direction of how and where I'm cutting. The next part of this haircut is us figuring out how long are we going to leave it or how short are we going to cut it. And that all depends on you and then the client. So I want to make this pretty kind of noticeable. So let's bring this up to about right here. Okay, we're going to bring this relatively short right through here, and then we're going to just extend it all the way through. Now here is the money part of this whole thing. What you want to do is you literally, with the fine teeth of the comb, you're going to comb this straight down. You're going to lock in where you want the base to be. The comb is perfectly even. And what I'm doing is cutting straight across. I'm going to extend that back this way. No tension whatsoever. And I'm cutting it straight across. Lastly, in the corners here, again, you have to be careful that what you don't want to do is bring this out this way and cut. You want to actually bring the corners straight down and then turn towards you so that it's actually like this. All right? And what that's going to do is it's going to help protect the rest of the hair. So now we have a perfectly straight base, and now we're going to just simply build from that. And this really is the wow moment, or the wow factor for me of when I did this haircut first over in London on somebody. I said, this is literally the straightest haircut I've ever cut in my life. I mean, this bob was so sharp that it was like, I just was blown away. I was literally completely blown away by this whole technique. So we're gonna just match up on the same way as the other side, and we're gonna just comb this out of the way. Again, there's nothing wrong with using clips, and I'm not trying to say this is the exact way you have to do it, all right? But this is how I learned it, and when I tell you the results are absolutely gorgeous. Again, so now we're gonna comb straight down. Now we have a guide to work with. So there is the guide, and we're simply gonna use no tension whatsoever, and we're cutting straight across. Same thing here, comb straight down, turn the comb inwards a bit so that we're now cutting straight, and we're maintaining and protecting that corner right there. Same thing on this side, comb it straight down, and now we're going to cut and protect that corner so we have the length, and we're then good to go. Bring this down again. If there are any pieces that you think need tidying up, then do so. Now, what's going to happen is it may not look, get this head straight, it may not look, you may see some areas that maybe don't look perfectly even, but the key is when you comb the hair straight down, what is it looking like? That really is the thing that was like, I couldn't believe the result. I'm like, I don't know if it looks even or something doesn't seem right, but it's because we're not elevating the hair or we're not doing anything crazy. You know, when you comb it in the way it's supposed to lay, it's perfect, and that makes the biggest difference. Is this an easy haircut? I mean, it can be. It really, really can be, but at the same time, it could be extremely challenging and it's like almost like a surgical haircut, right? It's like performing surgery. So let's continue combing it straight down with the fine teeth of the comb. Again, I'm using no tension whatsoever, and I'm literally, and you can see these shears, it just cuts like butter. That's what I really love about these shears, is that they're really, really a workhorse type of scissor, meaning that they get the job done. They're gonna last you quite some time. They're great for everyday cutting and doing haircuts like this. You really wanna have quick reaction when you're using scissors, right? You don't want the hair to bend at all, or you wanna be able to make sure it's cutting. You don't want dull scissors to do haircuts like these. You wanna make sure you're using really, really sharp, high quality shears. All right, so now we're back on this side. And again, I'm trying to, you wanna typically stand right in front, but I know if I do that, I'm blocking the light and I'm putting my arm in front of the way, and I don't wanna really do that to you all. So that's my excuse. If the haircut's very uneven, it's all because of you, the viewer. No. All right, so let's comb this straight down, and we're gonna cut straight across. I'm using no tension whatsoever, and we got this all in one shot, and it's perfectly even. And now I'm just gonna comb this down, and if I feel like there's anything I need to go over, you know, now really is the time to do so. And you'll be able to go back in and do any sort of cleanups towards the end. So let's comb this all straight down here, because now we don't need to use the clip anymore for this side, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Let's comb it all straight down. If the hair is if the section's too thick, if you feel that, you know, you're not seeing enough of the guide, then there's no problem with taking another micro section. Totally, totally up to you. All right, now what are we doing? We're combing the hair exactly how it's going to lay and live on the head, right? And it's really, really, really important that you do this. Keep combing, and get it perfect. So there we go, combing straight down. I have my guide locked in place, and I'm literally cutting straight across. Also, I sell these hair cutting combs on my website. And the reason I have these is because, one, I was paying way too much money for the hair cutting combs I was using before, so I said, let me see if I can recreate those and sell them myself, which is what I did. So these are on the longer side, just like the scissors here. And I prefer that because you have much more control while you're cutting. So now we're coming into the side over here. This is a very, very, very important area right here, all right? What you don't want to do is comb this all this way and cut across. You need to kind of protect that area, and again, comb it back just slightly so we're protecting that length. Because the last thing you want to do is cut too much hair off, right? And you don't want to lose that corner. You don't want to create a hole or to just look uneven. So now I'm going to go back to the center again. And yes, it's going to look a little bit off. I can tell you, I can assure you, it's going to look like something doesn't seem even, something doesn't seem right. When I comb it down, it's just, I don't know, it's all over the place, or this side looks like it's not right. It's going to look a little off at first, trust me, and it's going to all come together in the blow dry. All right, so now, same thing. We are on the corner right in through here, and the back and the front are now, the back is done, and we're ready to move into the sides and the front. As you can see, again, I've used literally no tension whatsoever. All right, so look at this front piece right here. We're actually going to match it up just perfectly, and that's why I wanted to go with this length. So when we're cutting this, all right, I'm going to try to do this so you can see. No, the elbow's going to be in the way. All right, so let's try this way. To move into the sides, again, what I'm doing is I'm making sure that all of this is combed exactly how it's going to lay. So what you want to do here is the ear protrudes out, and what that does is it creates a little bit of a lift right in through here. So if you don't compensate for that, you're going to create a hole. So what I always like to do is comb this down, tap this a little bit right there, and now it's time to create that precision haircut. And there we have it. So if you want to go back in right here, just clean up that little piece, but keep in mind, we did that just so we don't create any sort of holes. Here we are in the very, very front. I'm combing around and down, not even using a comb whatsoever, and there we have it. As you can see, almost a just about perfect razor sharp line. So look what happens when we comb this all straight down. We've actually maintained that length right throughout the front here, and now we're able to go in and clean up any sort of bits that we feel may need to be cleaned up or balanced. But what that did is it literally helped keep the haircut very, very, very balanced. If you don't do that, then there will be some sort of holes or gaps or anything like that. So this is really the shape that we're looking for this way. All right, let's duplicate this on the other side. Push in on the head a little bit like that, a couple little bumps, and I'm holding the comb very, very even, no tension whatsoever, and I'm going to comb around and down, around and down. So there we go. We've got all the hair in place, and we're going to cut all of that just to match up with that front area. So let's comb this side all the way now straight down and see what we got. So yes, what's going to happen is we're going to have a slightly longer front, which to me is totally fine. I'd rather have that than a front that is super, super short and unbalanced and not even, right? That's what's important. For the blow dry, I'm going to use my Crafted blow dry cream, which really is a phenomenal blow dry cream. It gives very, very light, controllable hold, and it smells like heaven. Very, very sophisticated Tom Ford inspired fragrance, which you know Tom Ford fragrances are great. So this has kind of a black orchid scent to it, an inspiration, which if you know black orchid from Tom Ford, it's a beautiful, beautiful scent, and that's what the scent pretty much is this, in this blow dry cream. So we're going to work it through from the scalp to the ends. We're going to really just use our fingers to get that product in there because that's really important when it comes to blow drying, especially on women's hair. And then comb in that product, right? Really, really get it through the hair. Make sure that it's evenly distributed from scalp to ends. Get way up here at the top because that is going to really help with the finished look and the blow dry. Now, what you're going to need when you blow dry is whatever hair dryer. You're going to need a nozzle. Again, back to the vent brush. You're going to need this vent brush, right, when you're blow drying it. And you could use a round brush too if needed. So let's blow dry it and then we'll come back and see how it looks. All right, now it's time to check the haircut to make sure it's exactly how we want it and that everything is good to go. Here is, now this is no sort of post-dry cutting. And I'm not a big dry cutting guy because I try to get everything exactly how I want it right from the start. So I really, really only do it if absolutely necessary. There's a lot of people out there I've seen which are, you know, talented hair cutters, but they do the whole haircut and then they spend 45 minutes going back in and refining what should have been done perfectly right from the beginning. Not to say that it's wrong, but, you know, like literally I'm just going in right here and scooping out that one little bit and cutting it. That's it, one little piece that I'm trimming right into this area right here. And again, you don't have to do all this simply because if you cut it right from the start, then you won't have any of these issues or problems. All right, so after 45 minutes of fixing this off camera, no, I'm just kidding. No, you know, sometimes I don't realize that the mannequin head is like tilted like this, and I'm like, okay, we're done, it's perfectly even, and then I shift it back, I'm like, wait a minute. This is perfectly even now, the mannequin head. As you can see, it's a big difference. So I had to go back in and just rebalance a couple little things on this side here, but this is pretty much the finished result. So let me know in the comments below. I don't suggest attempting this at home, ladies. If you want your husband to cut it and try this on you and he's never picked up a pair of shears in his life, don't go near him. Don't let him touch your hair. But I tried to break it down as easy as I possibly could. I did no layering whatsoever, no fancy stuff. I mean, this was a straightforward haircut, and that's how I learned how to do this. There's a lot of great tutorials out there on YouTube with a whole bunch of just over-the-top, unnecessary stuff. I want to bring you just keeping it simple and straight to the point. So thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time for more videos with the Salon Guy.